Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the mysterious girl on The Flash, like more specifically, like who her identity is. This mysterious girl has popped up twice. The most recent time, Cisco and Ralph ended up bumping into her. Prior to that, I was trying to remember in that particular episode, I was trying to remember like what was the episode that she was in before. I couldn't remember like what the circumstances were. Well, fortunately enough, recently enough, I had watched the Crisis on Earth X, and I'm like, oh, that's what she's from. Because she actually wasn't in the Flash episode. She was actually in the Supergirl portion of the Crisis X episode. She was only in it for like 2 minutes, but she walked up to Barry and everything, and she grabbed him. She's like, oh my God, this is going to be a big moment. It's incredible. And so obviously, like a lot of stuff it's hinting at basically she has some kind of connection to the future. Either she herself is from the future, because the fact of the matter is, rewatching it, I'm like, I don't remember at the time of the Earth Crisis X thing, like did I talk about that or not, but it was just like a small thing that had not come back up until then. So that's why I think it just took a while for my brain to kind of process, like, where do I know her from? Because when we see her in that episode at the end with Cisco and Ralph, like she's like, oh, paying it forward and stuff like that, and then you see her writing, but the writing she does is specifically in the form of the symbols that Barry writes in when he comes out of the Speed Force and he's kind of confused and everything. So I was like, oh, that could mean many different things. One, like I said earlier, it could be the fact that she's from the future because she knows certain things. Because at Barry and Iris's wedding, she's like, oh my God, this is going to be a wedding like for the ages. Like people are going to talk about this, because she knew ahead of time this stuff was going to go down. It's like, wait, what? How do you know that you know? And then there's even a moment where Barry's like, do I know you? And she's like, no. So I'm like, part of me's wondering, is it kind of like an Earth 1 Legion type of situation where she's actually from the future or something like that? Kind of like the Legionnaires on Supergirl, like, oh my God, Supergirl, you're like the coolest ever. Like, oh my God, everyone knows about you. You're so, you know, is it something like that? I don't know, it could be. But the fact that she's writing in symbols makes you think, okay, so maybe she's a speedster. Maybe she was actually in the Speed Force with Barry. Because the whole thought process is that basically while Barry was there, basically he experienced all the time. Because we still don't know what Barry went through while he was inside the Speed Force. But all of a sudden, we like, you know, he came out, and the way he was talking about certain things, it seemed like he was confusing the past, the present, and the future. Because for him, it was all jumbled together. And because to me, my understanding of the Speed Force and everything is this thing that kind of exists out of time itself. So maybe for him, the moment he was in there, he got to experience all the time at once. Or maybe while he was in the Speed Force, he was on some journey that he just doesn't remember yet. Maybe it just kind of got jumbled up with all the other stuff that he had like absorbed in his head. Because I pointed it out too at the time, they brought it back where he was trying to like, oh, Your Honor, I didn't do it, I didn't kill him. And it's like, oh, that was referencing him at the trial, so that's further proof of that. So it's like, maybe she's the same way, especially because she tried to dodge it, like, oh, no, you don't know me. But it's like, why would she hide that? Not unless she's actually a meta from the bus, and like when Barry came out of the Speed Force, she knows Barry because she saw him, or because when she got hit with the dark matter, it did something to her brain, and now like, almost by osmosis, I guess would be kind of the best thing, is like absorbing the information that's in Barry's brain type of thing. And then also, that's just one thought, and then I have another theory which I feel like is super less likely, but I figured I might as well throw it out there because I thought it'd be kind of interesting. If she's actually one of Barry's grandchildren, because I actually don't know how many grandchildren he actually has. The only one I'm aware of, and just because I'm not that well versed in comic books, is Impulse, aka Bart Allen. So what if in this particular case, instead of Bart being a boy, they made Bart actually a girl? So that's actually his granddaughter from the future. Like I said, I don't know, maybe he actually has a granddaughter along with a grandson, but maybe in this particular case, it's like, oh yeah, Impulse is actually a girl in this series. That'd be kind of an interesting turn, like, oh, you'd have no idea of guessing like that's who she is. I mean, because it also would make sense why she would be able to write in that language. Maybe that isn't just like jumbled mess. Maybe that's actually like future, like speedster talk or something like that. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, we've never actually seen speedsters, like, you know, I don't know if that's like a secret language of the Speed Force or, you know, something like that. I mean, because this isn't the first time I'm throwing this out there too, because I kind of threw it out there kind of last season as well, because it dealt with the whole Savitar situation, you know, Savitar's from the future, and that's an like time period we've never focused on much. Mainly it's been the present and the past. So, but you know, Impulse is, you know, I think his story typically entails him coming from the future to the past. So maybe that's what her whole situation is, like, hence why she paid Ralph and Cisco's money, just because like, oh, like eventually it work its way out to play out a certain way in the future, like it's kind of a dominoes effect type of thing. you know, maybe she's staying off to the side and not interfering too much because it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to change the timeline. I'm here to kind of like see things from afar. That's where my mindset is. Like I said, that's the least likely. I feel like what I brought up before, like her potentially being from the Speed Force. I mean, it could also potentially be a situation of she is the Speed Force personified. Maybe that's also there. Because typically the Speed Force doesn't actually have a physical form. Like anytime it interacts with Barry, it takes on the form of someone he knows. But what if it's like the Speed Force actually exists in this world now, but like it's in this, either like when Barry came back, he dragged the Speed Force with him and now a part of it is possessing this girl? Or, you know, it is just simply the fact is that the Speed Force got dragged here and just took on the form of this girl. I feel like it might be the first one, but with how powerful the Speed Force is and like this, it can manifest itself like that. Which is the question, like, does it do that because it can just do that on its own, or is it able to do that because like, oh, you're in a Speed Force, so it can get inside of your mind and project itself that way? Either way. I mean, all of those are just kind of my wild theories. So like I said, I'm leaning more towards the first things I kind of brought up of it being like either she's a Meadow or like, you know, she's just naturally connected to the Speed Force, which seems like obviously the most obvious. So I don't know. These are just my thoughts. I'd love to get to know your thoughts about those situations, who you think she might be. Do you know that at this point in time, I have not looked up anything because I don't want to know. Like, these are just wild thoughts I've had off the top of my head. I've not looked at what anyone else might say, because, you know, there are people who are more well-versed in comic books and they're like, oh, obviously she's blank, blank, blank. And it's like, oh, like, you know, I don't want that spoiled for me. So I want to find out when the show reveals it to us, like, oh, this is who you are. So I'm leaving it at that. But I still love to know your thoughts, you know. If you do know, try not to get too spoilerish. But if you don't know, like, you know, let me know your thoughts and theories about it. But really, that's all I want to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, be light to the force, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.